My name is Urs Heckmann, and you know me from software, from UHI. And yeah, last year we presented our first prototype of CVilization, which is this thing that's one of the blinking things. And this year I performed with 2 prototypes. So this is how far we've come. And actually we have 10 or so. And last year I presented a 4-on-4 matrix mixer, which also had quantization and sample and hold and all that kind of stuff. And that was the centerpiece of the performance. And this year we got a couple more modes, all 4 of them actually, and I'll present 2 to you. The first mode, actually the third mode, is what we call a sequence multiplier. And that is basically, you got 4 inputs, you got 4 outputs, and each pair of input and output becomes not a CV recorder, but a stepped CV recorder. So it's like, you know, the SH-101 sequencer. You attach a keyboard with gate and pitch, you go on record, you play your stuff, you go off record, and then it starts sequencing exactly that. It's very simple. But because we don't like only simple, I mean, this is what we're renowned for, geeky stuff, we added the option to mutate the sequence over time, much like there are many modules out there that mutate sequences. We follow a slightly different approach than the known ones because we randomize the interval, so to speak, right? We make intervals bigger or we make intervals smaller, so we unmutate them as well, so they end up in one node, and it's always the first node you record. And additionally, you can transpose your sequence with the input while you're playing back. And everything that you'll hear that's sequenced in pitch is going through CVilization, through this mode. And a lot of it is going to be random. I have rehearsed with this patch a little bit, but there's moments where it's just pure coincidence of what I'm actually recording into the sequencer. And well, I hope it's going to be, I think it's going to be nice and tonal. The other mode we have is Quadraphonic Mixer, panning mixer. And that's why we're here, because we've got 2 speakers in the front, 2 speakers in the back. The people in the middle will get the best experience. And what it does is it lets you take the 4 inputs and pan them over the 4 outputs. And of course it does auto panning. And not only does auto panning and CV-based panning, it also has a feature that we call auto hop or random hop, which takes a transient, and when it detects a transient, it moves the signal to a random position. So with some luck, there will be like the usual noise through phaser as like a hi-hat kind of thing, and it will come from everywhere with some luck. It should. And yeah, and then there'll be, I think I've got 4 oscillators, but I think I use 2 for tonal stuff and 1 just stuff, you know, blippy things. And I got the rings in here, which and the rings will fly around you somehow, hopefully. Yeah, it should do that. It will do that. I'm fairly certain. Yeah. And bit of reverb, bit of delay, the whole stuff. You know what you know. It's kind of in between playing it safe and trying to do something more elaborate than last year. And it has real-time components. I have to hit things like the pressure point in the right time. That's always a difficulty for me. But I think I'll just start. And afterwards, I suggest if there's like loads of questions, to come to our booth. It's just around the corner somewhere. We're hidden somewhere this time. And we can demonstrate things. And there will be another same performance, but it will sound completely differently at 3 o'clock as well. So I think I'll just start, and maybe afterwards we can do a couple of questions, and then we'll see how it goes. And how long? I try less than 10 minutes. Yeah, will work somehow. Thank you. So, as you have seen on my face, I had loads and loads of accidents. I pulled the wrong cable once, and then had my difficulties and stuff. But I think you heard what happened. So the first thing that happened that was important for us was that hopefully the sound came from everywhere. So that's the thing. It's CVilization is 10, what's it called, HP, right? 10 horizontal pitches. 10 horizontal pitches wide, but it is actually usable as a full-blown 4-in quadraphonic mixer. And it has, if you haven't seen the the presentation last year, it's got 24 bits recording or digital model, 24 bits resolution and 96 kilohertz. And plus minus 10 volts, and it's DC coupled. So these are the specs we're working on. It's one of the reasons why it takes so long. And yeah, so I think this is going to be, for people who do quadraphonic stuff, very, very useful addition to a small case. The other thing, the sequences, I wanted to do more, but it's it's like it is. I'm not really a musician, so I don't gig. I'm quite nervous. So, and what you could hear was that at some point I recorded a bass line, and the bass line over time became less and less animated, and ended up in basically again in the first note that was recorded. I had an accident with rings, but yeah, I hope you don't mind. Yeah, but this is pretty much everything that needs to be said about it. It's quite simple. Last year, I think we promised that we would do a lot of stuff with color coding because it's got, it's got this lava lamp thing going. You see that here? Here there's a bit of lava lamp. This is the pan position over the 4 outputs. And we decided not to do any color coding at all, more or less, because color coding means that you have to look into user manuals and figure out or remember things. And I think we mostly got this module into a position or into a state where you don't need to remember anything anymore. So it's, as I said last year, it's the least intuitive module that there is, because it's just 8 colorful LEDs that you can turn and push. But within like very short time, after seeing what it does in a video or maybe reading the user manual, which we have almost finished, I think it's very easy to use, even for me, even here. And okay, cool. So that's basically it. The same show, completely different. I promise, completely different. It's gonna happen in a booth in 40 minutes. I'm in time, even though the next guy cancels. And I think there it's a better setup to take loads and loads and loads of questions. So I think if people have them. As for the release date, it's been almost 2 years. We hope that we'll release it this year. And but you never know, right? Try to source a foggy pink LED in that size. It's difficult. Hardware is difficult to do. Okay, thank you. Then, yeah.